Thank you for joining today. I'm Ryan Neiman, Fantasy Sports U here. Follow us on Twitter at SSportsU. Follow us on the web at ssportsu.com. We have a new design there, and we're actually changing a lot of stuff in the upcoming weeks. And follow us on Instagram at SSportsU. Thanks again for joining today. It is Monday, and this is the Weekend Rewind. We'll be going over the biggest stories that happened over the weekend. And the first one we're going to start with is the Manny Pacquiao Timothy Bradley fight that went down over the weekend. Rematch of the first fight where Timothy Bradley won a controversial victory over Pacquiao. And Pacquiao ended up getting his revenge. Talking about that briefly is Jay Sanchez from Jay Knows Sports right now. How's it going, Jay?
Good, Ryan. How's it going?
Good. Talk about that fight as Pacquiao ended up avenging that previous upset. What exactly happened in that fight?
As you said, Pacquiao got his revenge. He won by unanimous decision, like how he should have won the first fight. But just Manny was being himself. He was really aggressive. He picked his spots in terms of throwing his flurries, and he avoided what happened during the Juan Manuel Marquez fight was when he got caught and got knocked out. He avoided that because that's what Bradley was gunning for towards the end of the fight. What happened was the first half of the fight was actually fairly even. I think I pegged the first 6 rounds 3-3 tie. Bradley was doing his thing. He was doing his own game plan. He was just being a boxer, countering punches, getting in his face whenever Pacquiao put the brakes on during the round. But something happened in the middle of the fight. All of a sudden, in the second half of the fight, he was swinging for the fences. He abandoned his game plan from the first 6 rounds. He was just swinging for the fences. He was trying to set Pacquiao up for a counter knockout, a la what happened with Marquez. But it just didn't happen. Pacquiao, obviously, he knows not to make that mistake again, and Bradley was counting on Pacquiao to make that mistake, but Pacquiao knew what was coming. Bradley was swinging for the fences, and then all of a sudden, then he just gassed out towards the end because he was swinging hard, and he eventually was gassed out towards the end, and Pacquiao took advantage. Pacquiao actually, on my card, he ended up winning the last 5 rounds because he was the more active fighter. He was the one landing the most significant strikes. And while Bradley was just, trying to set him up, trying to wait for the perfect opportunity to land a big punch, and it never happened. And there was at points during the fight where Bradley was grinning, telling him to keep going, and pretty much, showboating during the fight. But he was losing. He was losing the fight almost half the way through. So I don't know why he was, provoking Manny to keep fighting, and that it definitely played against him because Manny pretty much he outboxed him. No one was really. Bradley wasn't hurt. His face wasn't messed up. Same with the Pacquiao's, but Pacquiao put the better performance, and that's why he won.
And what is next for Pacquiao? After this win, immediately Pacquiao went to the podium and people asked him about Mayweather. And Pacquiao responded with, "My line is always open." What is next for Pacquiao? You think there will be the eventual Mayweather fight now?
Yeah, he never calls anyone out. After every fight, he always says, It's up to my promoter. It's up to my promoter. He always says that after every fight. So it basically is up to his promoter. Obviously, everyone would love to see this fight. Pacquiao, he's back in business. He proved that he's on top again. He got his welterweight title back, so he's in for some big fights. But the thing is, will Mayweather want to agree? Because obviously the stance here is not whether they want to fight. I think they both want to fight, but the problem is the negotiating the money. Mayweather wants to get a bigger portion than Pacquiao, and Pacquiao wants to keep it, 50-50 or 55-45 in Mayweather's favor. Because obviously Mayweather's a big draw, but at the same time, so is Pacquiao. But Mayweather, he wants to get more money in his purse, and he's being really greedy, and he won't. I think he'll still negotiate until it clearly benefits him in terms of revenue. But that fight's going to happen. That's not going to happen next. A rematch between him and Bradley will happen, but it's not going to happen. But that's not going to be Pacquiao's next fight. There are talks that Pacquiao may fight Juan Manuel Marquez a fifth time, which I really hope doesn't happen because they already fought 5 times. Like, come on, find someone else. So I don't know the type of there are guys like Mike Alvarado, who Juan Manuel Marquez is going to face later in next month, actually. So that could be a possibility, but there's not a lot of candidates like Pacquiao besides another rematch and Juan Manuel Marquez.
How about Bradley? What's next for him?
What's next for Bradley?
Yes.
I think he's gonna seek another rematch with Pacquiao, because that's, as we talked about last week, that's Bradley's cash cow. I think he earned $6 million for that fight on Saturday, and obviously he's not going to fight Mayweather. So as of now, his super fight is Manny Pacquiao, because that's where he'll get the most money. But obviously he's going to have to maybe fight someone else before he eventually fights Pacquiao again. Maybe I would like to see a rematch between him and Ruslan Pavannikov. That was honestly one of the best fights of the year last year. I would love to see that happen, but I think he's going to keep seeking a rematch between Pacquiao as soon as possible to get another big payday.
And also on the weekend, gotta go back for Bubba, my favorite line from Forrest Gump. Bubba Watson was at it again at the Masters. He became the 6th Masters victor by a left-handed player since 2003. His steady, creative plays lift Watson past Jordan Spieth, a 20-year-old, denying the bid to become Masters' youngest champ, as Bubba Watson won his 2nd Masters title in 3 years, shooting 8 under, while Spieth came in 2nd, and he seemed to crumble under pressure, finished tied with under 5. Could have been history books for the Masters before Fred Couples and Spieth fell off. Couples could have been the oldest player to win the Masters, while Spieth could have become the youngest. The turning point, which helped Watson gain a 3-shot lead over Spieth, occurred on the par 5 8th hole for Spieth, and his eventual downfall came at par 3 at the 12th hole. But it was the 2-year anniversary, which was just last Tuesday when Bubba Watson last won the Masters a few years ago, and he accepted a new green jacket from the 2013 champ, Adam Scott. He began bogey-free on Thursday, delivered 5 consecutive birdies to Serge on Friday, and closed things out in the final pairing with a heavy dose of what they call Bubba Golf on Sunday. He averaged tournament best 305.6 yard average off of the tee. And where did Watson go after his victory? It was not Disneyland. It was not Hawaii. But once again, he went to Waffle House to celebrate his victory. Jay, what do you take away from this year's Masters?
I took away that no Tiger Woods meant no ratings. There's a report out there that this year's Masters was the worst had the worst TV rating since 2004. So it shows how much of an impact Tiger Woods has, even when he's not competing. He makes a significant impact into the rating, because obviously he's a living legend in the sport that has a chance to break Jack Nicklaus's not massive record, major record, which is at 20. He needs 2 more to tie Jack Nicklaus. It just shows how important Tiger is to the public. But I was actually kind of surprised by that stat, because there are a lot of big storylines in this tournament. Bubba Watson, he won, and he's arguably, one of the top 5 most popular players in the sport because of his long drive, because of he has these little funny music videos out with him and Ricky Fowler and Ben Crane, and he's really active on social media. So he's a really popular guy. I was really surprised by these TV ratings. Also, on top of that, Jonas Blix was a big storyline. He could have been the first Swede to win the Masters if he had won. But the biggest storyline to finish second, to be, I think he was co-leading, or he might have been leading the event going into the final day. That shows how much moxie this guy has. It shows that he's proven that he's going to be a superstar in this sport. He's only 20 years old, as I mentioned, and he's already won a tournament. He won the 2013 John Deere Classic, which was actually held here in Illinois. And he won that in the playoffs with Zach Johnson and David Hurd, I believe. So having Jordan Spieth finish that high up, it shows that the future of golf after Tiger Woods is going to be fine. He and Rory McIlroy, who's only 24 years old, they're going to take the torch once guys like Tiger Woods, Phil Mickelson, eventually call it quits. So someone like Jordan Spieth, that's big for the game of golf. But obviously Bubba winning 2 green jackets in the last 3 years trumps everything, because that shows that Bubba will probably eventually be a golf Hall of Famer when it's all said and done.
Would you consider that Jordan Spieth's kid, you think he's one of the rising stars right now, or was it a fluke performance by him?
No, his rookie year last year was amazing. It's not Tiger. No one can ever compete to Tiger's rookie year, but he came in last year as an amateur. He won the John Deere Classic, and which solidified him as a professional. And he won that tournament. He was selected to be in the President's Cup last year, the team event. And for the Ryder Cup this year, there's no doubt in my mind that he's going to be chosen this year for the U.S. Ryder Cup. I think he's going to be a superstar in the league. He's very consistent. If you watch him play, you wouldn't think that he's a 20-year-old. He has a very, he's really level-headed. And for playing I know he kind of had a little hiccup on the last day, but to play this well in a major, playing along the best in the entire world, the best field of all the tournaments so far, it's very impressive. Because you see guys like Phil Mickelson, he missed the cut. Sergio Garcia, Dustin Johnson, Rory McIlroy, he barely made the cut. So to beat all those guys and finish in second I think he's going to be a superstar in the league. He's only 20 years old. Lots of golf left for this young guy.
Well, talking the 2 biggest sporting events over the weekend, Manny Pacquiao defeating Timothy Bradley, and Bubba Watson winning at the Masters yet again, is Jay Sanchez joining us again. Jay, where can everybody find you on the web?
Yeah, it's at Jay Knows Sports, Jay Knows Sports, and I have a blog where I just posted an article a few hours ago about this weekend's events, the Masters, baseball, and the boxing match between Pacquiao and Bradley. Wrote an article about those 3 events on my blog at jknowsports.wordpress.com.
Well, thanks again, Jay, for joining us briefly for these segments and the top stories over the weekend that happened.
All right, no problem, Ryan. Thanks.
Thanks. Have a good one. And also, over the weekend, Oscar Pistorius took the stand as he is being accused of shooting his girlfriend, Riva Stardenkamp, and he yelled in court, "I did not fire at Riva." Pistorius was in tears as he denies intentionally shooting his girlfriend after prosecutors claimed that she fled for her life. Pistorius has had recent accusations from previous girlfriends and relatives and friends that said he did have problems in the past with anger issues. The court was forced to adjourn twice after the athlete breaks down in tears in the witness box. He left box in tears after repeating what he shouted to the suspected intruder, saying it was somebody else. He said he screamed, "Get the F out of my house," and he wailed in a high-pitched voice. The amputee also wept as he denied intentionally shooting Riva Stenkamp. Prosecutors accuse him of crying because he's mixing up his testimony. Drew Neal claims the runner is doctoring his evidence of the fatal night. He also tells that the athlete that he's going to prove that his version of events is untrue. The athlete was met by fans carrying white balloons as he arrived at the court, which is quite ridiculous because the evidence are strong against Pistorius, as if he becomes not guilty, he'll become the next O.J. Simpson in South Africa. Another dumb NFL player was arrested over the weekend. Is this a surprise, folks? Hell no, it should not be. San Francisco 49ers linebacker Aldon Smith was arrested on false bomb charges stemming from an incident at the LA International Airport. He was randomly selected for secondary screening at the airport. However, Aldon Smith became belligerent and uncooperative with the process and with the TSA agent as he started making comments indicating that he was in possession of a bomb before proceeding towards the gate. Eventually, LAPD officers arrived on the scene. However, Smith continued to be uncooperative and he was eventually detained. Smith has a long history of running with the law, and this is not going to help him with the San Francisco 49ers front office and potentially a longer, lucrative deal with the 49ers. The one thing that I have a problem with this, charges have not yet been made against Aldon Smith. If this was you or I involved in a situation like this, we would be in Guantanamo Bay by now. Just because he's an athlete, he is getting the benefit of the doubt and likely will just be paying a hefty fine instead of going to jail like you and I would probably do. History was made in Major League Baseball over the weekend as it happened on Sunday. Boston Red Sox skipper John Farrell became the first manager to become ejected following an overturned call after the umpires reversed a call using instant replay. It was an absolutely interesting sight as we all assumed ejections would soon be diminished due to the help of instant replay. But Farrell became the exception in the fourth inning of Sunday night's loss to the Yankees. Farrell became upset as Joe Girardi challenged a bang-bang play at first base. Francesco Cervelli was called out on a would have been an inning-ending double play, but replays showed he beat the throw. The call was overturned by the umpires, and Cervelli was safe at first, and a run scored on the play. That run will be the difference maker for the Yankees' victory. And the reason why Farrell became so upset is because, as he told reporters after the game, he thought the replay was inconclusive, and there was not enough evidence to reverse the call. As he said, "I am having a hard time to have much faith in the system right now." As the old adage always goes, the house always wins. And Phil Ivey, this is not an exception to you as well. Phil Ivey, one of the world's top poker players, is being sued by the Borgata Hotel Casino and Spa in Atlantic City. The casino accuses him of noticing a deck in the cards being played during a Baraka session and parlaying that into a $9.6 million haul back in 2012. They have evidence of the use of dealers and also with the cameras. And Phil Ivey, you should know, regardless of who you are, the house always wins. Last but certainly not least, the Indiana Pacers defeated Oklahoma City Thunder last night 102-97 as Pacers hold on to the top spot in the East, which is remarkable after all the turmoil and events that they have endured throughout the season. They are 55-26. It is the last week of the regular season, and they had the chance to hold on of earning the number one seed in the East. All they need to do is a win Wednesday night at Orlando or another Miami loss to get the number one seed in the East. Just remarkable due to the fact that they've truly endured a lot to the season, a lot of criticism from everybody, and they still likely will get that number one seed in the East. Well, this has been the Weekend Rewind, going over the top stories that occurred over the weekend. Thanks again for listening. Catch us on Twitter, Fantasy U Sports, the web, fsportsu.com, and Instagram, fsportsu. I am Ryan Neiman. Thanks again for listening, and have a great day.